Oh wow, for those of you who don't know, when my computer exploded, I say exploded, it didn't really explode, it just kind of started making some strange suspicious noises, and I had to send it off to get it fixed. When I did that, my computer had to be completely reset. It was fitted with an entirely new hard drive, so I lost all of my Zoo Tycoon 2 files, as well as a lot of other files. So I did lose the original Sparrow Forest Zoo in that time. I wasn't going to try and redo it at all originally, then I thought maybe I'll give it another go, but later when I feel a bit more inspired to do it. And then lo and behold, I went to a zoo conference, which I will may have already posted a video. My schedule is a bit whack at the moment, so I'm not sure when I'm posting what things when and who what when now. But I was really inspired by all of the research I heard at that conference and all of the places I went to during the conference to just build a zoo, because Planet Zoo isn't out yet. So without Planet Zoo I can't do all the things that I want to do, but I can kind of use Zoo Tycoon 2 to kind of get that zoo building energy out of me, all of that intense desire to just build a zoo and manage a zoo. And Zoo Tycoon 2 is the best we've got at the moment. So without further ado, let me just spin around. This is the new Sparrow Forest. So I haven't built an entire zoo. I've just built an entrance area and a couple of enclosures, so it's still very barren. There's a little extra things that we could do here, but I did get a chance to completely overhaul the mod pack I was using, get a bunch of mods that I wanted to use that I didn't have before, that I can now have. And also fix a few other things, like the zoo guest limit not increasing and being limited to like less guests than I would have normally. So now I can have like 400 or something ridiculous guests maximum, which is really exciting because I wanted that before. But it didn't work for some reason. So I think I have like 100 guests right now in like a very, very small zoo. So I'll show you around right quick. So this is the entrance area. It's very nice, very nice. As you can see, it's very busy in our restaurant. The restaurant is a little bit bare bones, to be honest. Everyone's really angry because it's like full of garbage. It's not that bad, guys. Come on. So this is like the little restaurant area just at the entrance. So you can come here to get food, and there is like upstairs. Like, everyone's going upstairs because there's just like bathrooms up here. So you can go here if you need to eat or you need the bathroom. There's menus up on the wall. There's paintings, just like in the old restaurant we had. It's a bit smaller. It's a bit more discreet. It's not as major a building. Considering this is meant to be quite a small zoo, I thought that fit a bit better just to have like a little cafe area right at the entrance. It's not the most exciting structure in the world, but it does the job. And then over here we have the gift shop. So this is like a proper gift shop this time. Like I put loads of stuff out on the ground for people to buy, and you can just come up here and buy gifts. A couple of people walking around with zoo hats on as it is. So that's that. It's the first time I've really had the chance to use the gift shop stuff by Zeta Designs made by Sophie properly. I didn't get a chance to use them ever before, really. I don't know why. I just kind of, maybe I was afraid to use them, but yeah. Now we have a gift shop. So if we go down here, we have a nice little garden here. So this is a little garden area. As you can see over here there isn't anything going on quite yet, but this way is a bit more. So over here we have our Oceana birds area. This is just like, this doesn't go anywhere, you just go up here and this is like its own enclosed little area. You can come here and you can donate, and we have the blue-winged kookaburra. So I didn't actually realize this. I thought these were like insectivorous birds. Like I knew they ate meat, like they were carnivores, but I didn't realize that they were like proper predators. Like they're quite large birds. And they are a member of the kingfisher family, but they don't eat fish. They're not really associated with water. They are much more closely associated with hunting small lizards, small rodents, things like that. So that's one of our kookaburras up there. We've got quite a few in here. Perched on nothing at the moment. Sliding kind of. Let's see if we can see another one. There should be a baby one in there. Yeah, I can just see a little baby kookaburra in there. So they are breeding, which is lovely. And we have some conservation signs. I really want to do a bit more in terms of having conservation information up, or just information in general, just using all of the scenery that's been made by the wonderful Zoo Tycoon 2 modding community So there are lots of signs available that we can use just to kind of make everything a bit more interesting and also realistic, because zoos always tend to have some information about the animals they have. So we do have this sign about the kookaburra here. As it says, it's a large species of kingfisher native to northern Australia and southern New Guinea, named for its bright blue wings. It is sexually dimorphic with a blue tail in a male and a rufous tail with blackish bars in a female. The blue-winged kookaburra hunts and eats a great variety of animals that live on or close to the ground. It is a cooperative breeder, a group being made up of a breeding pair and one or more helper birds who help raise the young. So we're going to try and emulate that as much as possible in this enclosure. I wanted to go for like that old Victorian wrought iron arch style enclosures for this aviaries. I kind of wanted to emulate that all the way around, but there isn't very much in terms of like modding tools that I can use to do that, so we'll see how it goes. I'm not very far into that, but I went to the Welsh Mountain Zoo as part of this conference, and that had that kind of style, and it's such a beautiful style for zoos to have. Like, some of the enclosures are like grade 2 listed buildings, so that means they can't knock them down and they can't change them because they're like historical artifacts. They're like that important. I had a bit of lag there. So this is I like these signs because they boost the guest's education for like different enclosures, so even if you have like animals in the wrong environment or something, their enclosures can still be really educational, which is lovely. So this middle bit is our flightless New Zealand bird enclosure. New Zealand is known for its flightless birds. For example, the giant moa was native to New Zealand because New Zealand doesn't have very many terrestrial carnivores. Most of its predators are flying birds, so large eagles and the like. And if you're a smaller bird that is prone to be preyed upon, being a flying bird isn't going to help you very well when your predators are also flying. If your predators are all terrestrial, you'd be flying away from them, but if your pursuer is flying as well, it's better just to be able to run and hide in the undergrowth. So that's what we've got here. We've got the kakapo, which is the largest, well, I say the largest, it's the heaviest of the parrots. It is also the only flightless parrot, I should say that here. Endemic to New Zealand, the unusual kakapo is the heaviest of the parrots. It's also the only flightless parrot and has a very long lifespan which can reach well over 100 years of age. Though mostly terrestrial, it's an excellent climber and feeds on berries and fruits. The kakapo is nocturnal and has whisker-like feathers to sense obstacles when foraging. You can see it just on this picture here, the little whiskery feathers. Due to the introduction of foreign predators by humans, wild kakapo populations have suffered a steep decline, which is why we have this educational sign here. This is all about invasive species. You can't read it very well, but it's fine. I usually just have it here for decoration more than our purposes, because I can tell you about it myself. Our guests will be able to read it, but I will have to tell you. So New Zealand and Australia as well has a big problem with invasive species. Invasive species such as, for example, the domestic cat here, are really a big cause of the decline of many of these flightless birds, so the kakapo and the kiwi. Because unfortunately, because they are terrestrial birds that can't fly away from predators, when you introduce a terrestrial predator like a cat, they have no real natural defense against that kind of predator. It's not something they were built to deal with, it's not something they know how to deal with in their biology. It's just all around a very bad time for the flightless birds. Including the kiwi, the little spotted kiwi, which is the smallest of the kiwis. It subsists in small New Zealand islands. Yeah. Like all kiwis, they're plump and flightless and have a good sense of smell. Little spotted kiwis feed on insects and grubs that are found underground. It digs into the ground with its sharp talons and then shoves its slung beak into the soft ground. The kiwi's eggs are the largest of any bird in comparison with its body size. Its egg accounts for 26% of its own weight, so a very small bird with huge eggs. So this is our New Zealand flightless bird enclosure. Let's see if we can spot any of them. There is the kakapo there. There is only one in there. They are a critically endangered bird. I don't know how many of them there are exactly, but it is not many. And there is just a kiwi behind it there. They are a very cute bird though. A cute little flightless parrot. So that's their enclosure there. I've basically made it so everything here is reachable by climbing, so they've got different perches they can climb up on. There's a little shelter there they can go into, and they have a little coop that's like a little sleeping area. And finally we have our last Australian bird, the palm cockatoo, and I can't read you the sign because someone's head is phasing through it. But yes, we have a palm cockatoo in here. We have just one palm cockatoo. If I can see him. There he is. Palm cockatoo. So we have a palm cockatoo in this enclosure. And I would love to show you that is the largest of the cockatoos. I can see that part, and I'm going to tell you it's a black parrot native to New Guinea and Northern Australia. It has red cheek patches on its face, you can see them right here. Little cheek patches, and they become brighter when the bird is excited or alarmed. Its powerful bill allows the cockatoo to eat hard nuts and seeds and to make drumsticks used to drum against dead trees as part of a particular territorial display. Though they lay only one egg every second year, palm cockatoos are long-lived, reaching ages of 50 or more, so they are quite territorial, which is why we just have the one. I did have more than one, but they kept fighting each other, so I went for that. And our kookaburras are actually probably the most prolific breeders. I would like to try and breed kakapos at some point, but not at the moment, because I don't want to have like loads of them running around, because I feel like that defeats the point of them being a critically endangered animal that we should really be putting a lot more effort into breeding. So that is our oceanic birds area. There's little flags here with different Australian birds just to show off, including the kookaburra. There is the kookaburra right there. And a kind of cockatoo that we don't actually house. But that's besides the point. So that's the most kind of developed area at the moment. Because over here it's not very developed at all. We just have like a restroom, and then we have over here a little educational table. There is a skull there. It's technically a tiger skull, but we're pretending it's a lion for the time being, just for the sake of it, and some bones there. You can also donate, and this whole time there is someone giving you an educational talk. That's quite common in zoos. And here we have a mixed species enclosure. It's actually looking a bit gross in this. I'm going to go and help out the zookeeper, who seems to be struggling a little bit with all of the masses of poop that the meerkats produce. Okay, so in here, if I go back outside, come on. It's quite hard to navigate. I can see why the zookeeper has such a hard time getting it clean. But you can probably already tell by now if you've spotted them. This mixed species enclosure is home to meerkats and a porcupine. So meerkats, they are a small member of the mongoose family. They are small burrowing animals living in large underground networks with multiple entrances, which they leave only during the day except to avoid the heat of the afternoon. They are very social, living in colonies of up to 30 meerkats in a group. And they have animals that stand sentry and warn others of approaching dangers. They'll stand on a rock and they will stand sentry. And they are housed with the crested porcupine, also known as the European, African or North African crested porcupine. It is a member of the Old World porcupine family. It is a nocturnal rodent that lives on the ground and is found from Sicily, Italy, the northern coast of Africa, South Tanzania, and northern Congo. It is tolerant of a range of habitats, including mountains, deserts, and forests. I have seen this mixed species, this exact species mixed like 3 different times in zoos now, so I'm pretty sure it is something that works. I haven't had any problems in Zoo Tycoon 2. I don't know if anyone has any particular reasons why these couldn't be housed together, but from my own observations, the meerkats are very curious of the porcupine. Like, even after being housed with it for ages, they will like constantly go up to the back end of the porcupine and like sniff its spikes, which is actually pretty cute. So the way I kind of did it was like, there is a bigger area that the porcupine and the meerkats can get into, but there's a smaller area where just the meerkats can go if they feel threatened by the porcupine. But generally, if like these were trained, if it was possible to train them, the meerkats would just go in there and the porcupines would just go in there, so they had a chance to get away from each other if they would so choose. And that's really everything. That's really all I've got so far. So I do have plans to bring back some of the enclosures that we had in the old Sparrow Forest Zoo. I am going to build, hopefully I'm going to start it today. Maybe not necessarily finish it, but we'll do our best. I want to make a new otter enclosure. It won't be European otters this time. I actually want to use giant otters because I want to have a social group of otters, and I believe of all the otter species that I have in the game, if I have a little look, I am also not playing on challenge mode this time, only because I wanted to just build, I wanted to just be creative, I didn't want to worry about like the limitations of challenge mode, but we will return to it eventually, I promise we will. Right, so otters, yes, we have spotted neck otter, which is a otter from Africa, which is solitary. We have the European otter, which is the same as we had before, which is also solitary. And then we had sea otters, which are the largest of the are the largest of the otters, but a small, very small marine mammal. Also mostly solitary. And then we have the giant otter, which lives in large social groups, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to have social groups so I could have multiple otters in the same enclosure rather than just two little animals in a huge otter enclosure, which I'm going to build here. So I'm actually just gonna get right started. Let's not dilly-dally anymore with how we're gonna do this or anything like that. I just want to dive straight in and build the enclosure. So let's see. I do have an idea of how I want to do it, so I'm just going to kind of talk as much as I can. Because I've seen a lot of otter enclosures, just generally, not even just recently, with varying species in it. Usually the Asian short-clawed otter is quite a popular one. It may even be the giant otter that we have at my local zoo, but I'll have to double check exactly what it is, because we have a huge social group of those. I'm not sure how many, but they did have young recently. The young are all quite big now, but goodness, actually, I'm gonna just do it like one across like that. And then I'm gonna make this a ditch. I don't know how deep I want to make this. Quite deep though. Yeah, so I think a social group is just all around more fun, it's just more interesting to watch. I think we'd be able to do all around a bit more with it. I'm not going to do a show this time just because it takes up so much space and it's really like, it's a lot of faffing around, to be honest, just from my experience of what it was like last time. And what it's been like every other time I've tried to have a show in one of my zoos. And I think just all around, it's not really necessary for what I'm trying to do here. The zoo doesn't really benefit in any way from having it, but it doesn't really suffer from not having it. The only thing that it really does is like encourage people to go in a certain place at a certain time. And that's really just the gist of it. They don't really do very much else other than that. So I think that's probably more or less what I want to do. Okay. And then we're gonna have a front waterway without knocking my microphone over. Okay, so let's see. What I want to do is have a deep area which they can swim in. Of course, of course. And then we'll have a shallower area. Just like. And then we'll smooth it on out. I think that's looking pretty darn good so far. Quite a big area of water for them to play in. But I also wanted to kind of have, if it lets me do it, may have to do a bit more like this. Some waterfalls, there we go, that's what we wanted. There we go. That works just fine. And next up we'll just paint the grass terrain in. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. So I think that should look just fine. Yes, okay. So next up we want to make sure the foliage is just right. Let's put a bunch of rocks up here. Should look pretty good. Yes, that's okie dokie over there. We don't have a lot of other foliage we can really use, but that's fine. I don't really want to put... I think the hollow tree shelter works nicest with what we've got going here. Okay. I'm gonna put a couple more rocks here and there just to kind of make it a bit more evened out. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do at all. So I'm actually gonna put a bit more sand in. Make a kind of like beach-ish sort of area. Maybe a bit less than that. I'm gonna take care to save very often as well, because I don't want the game to crash and for me to lose all of my progress, as we know is apt to happen in Zoo Tycoon. So this is looking good so far, so we want to make sure they have plenty of place to run around and swim. I kind of want to obscure the fence a little bit, so I am going to get a bit more plant. Maybe I should go into the wetlands. I mean, where does it say they're from? They're South Americans, so I'm wondering where exactly they're from. Like, let's quickly look this up. Maybe I should have done this beforehand, but you know how it is. So giant otters or giant river otters, I think they may be based in like, okay, they live along the Amazon River and in the Pantanal, so they are like tropical wetlands, so we definitely want to have tropical plants here, is what I'm getting from this. So we want some tropical rainforest type plants, which works very well because I wanted these dead trees because they make very nice like driftwood like that. I think that looks very nice. Another one over here. And then let's go ahead and place a couple of the trees just all around. Let's see how this looks so far. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze in a second. Don't mind me, guys. Bless me. So let's go ahead and put a few more tropical plants down. Just to make this look all around a bit more appealing. Let's hide all of the fence. What I'll do is I'll just cover it all with this to start with, and then we'll diversify a bit later on. Alright, let's see how that looks right quick now. Yeah, we just kind of need to add a bit more diversity with the plant life, and then it will look pretty good. So if I put these in a few more places, and then we go ahead and get some different ferns. Flowers. Herm. Actually, want to kind of see with a few more rocks instead. I do need to have an area where zookeepers can come in as well. It just really hit me. I do need a place for zookeepers to come in. So let's just... oh, let's put... I am getting a bit of lag just because of the sheer number of guests that I have wandering around. Definitely doesn't help. Okie dokie, so there is that. I think that more or less does the enclosure decoration. I don't think there's too much else to be done there. We will just change the grass background there. Okay, so now all we have to do is put a bit of enrichment in for starters. So various balls. And we also need to put some food down. Let's see. I believe these guys mostly just eat fish. Okay, I don't think they eat much else. Mostly fish, may also eat crabs and turtles, things like that. Okay, so we do want to give them mostly just fish. So I am thinking maybe we just give them artificial reefs. Fish with shellfish, shrimp. Okay, we'll just stick with that, and then we'll give them a shellfish substrate pile. Maybe we'll give them the slog with insects. I don't know how much insects they really eat, but you know, no harm in it. No harm in it. Keep-dokey. So I think that's more or less everything they need to be happy. Oh, that's a lowlander Noah. Whoopsie! I didn't realize I was still on tropical rainforest, so we want to be going on freshwater, and that is where the giant otter should be. So we'll go ahead and 1, 2. 1, 2. Nice big social group of otters. And I don't know, I'm not sure if we have a dynamic sign for these guys. We'll have to find out. Just put it right now. It doesn't look like we do. We'll have to see if we can find another sign for them in the meantime. But this is fun, I like this. Oh. I like that you're looking kind of down into the river. I think you can see a lot more that way. Also keeps the guests quite a reasonable distance away from the animals themselves. This isn't the sort of enclosure where they could hop out. It is a shame that you can't see them from underwater, but I think this view is a bit nicer, to be honest. So what I'm gonna do now is fill up the area here with flowers. I can just completely fill it up as much as I possibly can. All different kinds of flowers. Just to make an all-around nice looking little flower bed there. Maybe I'll just fill like the center bit with these shell gingers just to make it less like you can see straight through it. There we go. See what other flowers we can get. Violets, lily of the valley, we'll use some of those. Just an absolute mess of flowers. Get 1 or 2 more, just to fill it up a little teeny weeny bit more. Lavender. Something a bit smaller maybe. That meerkat sound is so recognizable to me. I'm so like attuned to it. I used to, when I played Zoo Tycoon, I used to just open that big scrub map that had a giant like a giant hill in the middle. I think it was like an Ayers Rock type map, but I used to use it for basically to have a meerkat manor. Like I just had endless amounts of meerkats and I like watched them in the wild, and the meerkat sound is just like so familiar to me because of that. I do need to assign these guys a zookeeper though. I didn't mean to throw him into the water, but yes, he is going to be, or she is going to be our official keeper of the otters for now. And I'll still need to decorate this exterior bit a little bit more. It's not quite there, but as it is, I like the interior of it is nice. I think the interior is pretty decent. I think it's good progress for the day, good progress, and then next time we can do a bit of decoration on the outside maybe. I do have plenty of ideas for other enclosures. I may or may not bring the penguins back, I don't know. I kind of want to avoid having too many aquatic enclosures just because I have a big project, like a big marina project lined up for Zoo Tycoon, and I will definitely wear myself out if I do too many tanks. So I'll give that a miss. But I have a bunch of other enclosures I want to do. I have a bunch of mixed species enclosures, I have a bunch of like big enclosure ideas, just all sorts in my brain that I want to do. And we will we will try and figure out which of them I should do next. Maybe build this way just so we can keep everything kind of symmetrical rather than just going like all the way around. But I don't know, what do you guys want to see? Do you guys have any particular ideas for things you'd like Sparrow Forest Zoo to have? Things that you think could be improved on? Just any ideas that you can have at all. Let me know in the comments down below and I'll see what I can do for next time. But until then, bye bye.